How may we help you, Bridget?
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I've called before, and what I'd really like to learn about today is about vilification. And I know you guys are the experts, so I'm hoping you can help me. When I called before, I mentioned my husband saying that he doesn't feel loved or respected, but then when I ask him, well, what does that look like? Can you tell me? He won't tell me.
Yes.
So what I found out that he's been vilifying me at least on and off for 10 years, perhaps longer. Back then, he had 2 emotional affairs. But I'm not the only person he vilifies. He does vilify other people, but he determines my intentions, and then when I tell him those aren't my real intentions, he tells me I'm gaslighting him if they don't match his negative projections.
Bridget,
He
let
even
me see
accuses
you.
me for
Let me see if I can remember.
Yeah.
We have talked before. I remember. Help me remember if I'm right about this. Is your husband more of a processor? I mean, a guy who's kind of laid back, makes decisions slowly, a little bit reticent. Do I remember that correctly or incorrectly?
No, he's the opposite. He's aggressive, very type A. And
Okay.
so he's blamed me even for his lack of success in his music career, despite the fact that I get my hands dirty helping him in the trenches. He even blames me for when he returned to church. So I mean, there's like 10 years of vilification.
Okay.
Is this normal? Do you see other couples who do this, or is it normally only associated with the affair? Because he's been in the affair for almost a year now, perhaps more, and he moved out in October. And I want to understand vilification much better.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm sorry I confused you with somebody else, and so I got your husband's personality wrong there. So he's pretty much an A-type, but you're also what we would call an A-type. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And so you guys butt heads over a lot of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. and you're also a very verbal person, very articulate. So when you want to cut into him, are you pretty good at that verbally?
Oh, I try not to put him down, but I used to think that my opinion was always the right opinion. I've been changing, but I'm working.
Okay. So in the past, at least, you have been pretty able to hit his spots to get responses out of him when you're upset or angry or hurt, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not trying to beat you up for this. I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just saying it sounds to me like that this really doesn't have anything to do with the affair. I'm not, and I'm guessing you understand because I really don't know you, and I obviously don't know your husband. But it sounds to me more like it's 2 personalities that run afoul of each other. Now, can people like you have good marriages, even with those 2 type A's, if you will, personalities? The answer is absolutely you can. But these couples tend to have more conflict. They tend to be more verbal in their conflict. And they do tend to be more, it's not so much as vilification. When we talk about vilification, we're saying that you're actually turning the other person into a villain. And what I'm thinking you're saying, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is not that he's trying to turn you into the villain, but that he accuses you of various things. He points out your flaws to you. He points out your flaws to other people as he sees them. But in vilification, which happens in an affair, is
he's actually all over town, like saying things about me that aren't true. So he is vilifying me hardcore.
Okay, then maybe he is. Obviously, I don't know you. I'm having to take guesses. Could it have something to do with the affair now? Obviously it could. But if you've been doing this for 10 years, then it's not tied directly to the affair. It's my guess is a lot more to do with your personalities. But understand that true vilification is you're trying to justify behavior. And true vilification is I make you the villain to justify whatever I do. Now, if that's what he's doing, that's what he's doing. But if he's just saying things about you because he's angry or mad, that's not necessarily vilification in the same sense we talk about it. It's still bad. It's not good at all. But it's not this thing that helps to create this justification inside a person's head.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I found in a journal, I actually snooped before he moved out, and I've never done that before, where he said I have psychosis, which I certainly don't. I mean, so there is, I don't know if that counts as vilification too, or if that's just him being really negative. But yeah, so you're saying that the vilification, the actual vilification, which he is doing, is usually associated with the affair and him trying to justify his actions to himself.
That's what we talk about when we talk about vilification. But what I'm hearing you saying is that you guys just really rip into each other, and that he not only rips into you, but he rips about you. That he puts you down all over the place, which could be there's a ton of different reasons that could be happening, starting with your conflicting personalities, all the way to, well, I'm not going to get further because if I start speculating, I'm getting wild ideas, and I don't want to do that. But there's a lot of different reasons that could be happening. But that's not the same thing we typically talk about when we talk about vilification. I'm sure it's painful. It shouldn't happen. It's a bad thing. But it's not necessarily the same as the vilification in an affair.
Can you talk to me then about the vilification in the affair, which is also happening? I'd like to learn about that.
Well, I've already summarized it. It's when in your brain you actually begin to see only the negatives about the other person, and you come to believe those altogether. And in that process, typically wind up not having any valid memories about good things about the other person. And in this process that's happening in your brain, it's justifying you doing whatever you need to get away from this person, even to cause some kind of damage or harm to that person. I don't mean physically, like beat them up. I mean like, I'll take all the money, or I'll try to take your kids away from you, or those kinds of things. And so vilification in the sense of affair typically is happening in the brain. It's not a process where the person consciously decides, I'm going to put you down. I am going to try to think bad things about you. I'm going to destroy your reputation. It's typically not a conscious decision. It's what's happening in the brain that's justifying the behavior. And therefore, they say all these terrible negative things, but they really believe them, and they really don't have any memories of the good things at all. So it's a very specific kind of thing that we're talking about in the affair.
I think that is happening. How do couples get past that or get beyond that? How does that get better?
Only if the relationship gets better. And can it get better? Will it get better? The answer is absolutely yes. I vilified Alice terribly when I left
did
her.
with Shannon as well.
Not only say vicious things about Alice, I said vicious things to Alice, of which to this day I'm ashamed. When I sometimes remember some of the things I said, I just cringe, thinking, was I that much of a son of a, to say those kinds of things about her? So the problem is not trying to fix the vilification. If you focus on that, you're focusing on the wrong thing. The thing to do is to focus on how do we fix the relationship. Then the vilification will fix itself down the line. Would you agree with that, Jim?
Oh, 100%. Bridget, who's your coach? Who are you working with?
I don't have one because I'm flat broke since he left.
Okay. Well, I would say if there's a way that we can help there, if you want to give our office a call, maybe we can discover and be creative as much as we can. But in any case, this is so specific. We can give some generalities,
right?
But a coach is going to be able to ask you some really good questions in regards to things you may think are which for you are actually benign, regular behavior, and offer perspective on how he may be interpreting those things.
Yes.
And that's some of the value that can happen with that. So I don't know your financial situation, and I want you to listen with an open mind what I'm about to say. One of our CRs, Amber, is such an inspiration to so many people.
Yeah.
And when she and her husband were going through some difficulty, I remember Amber saying, I did everything I could to get access to that. And all I would say is it may not be comfortable. It may cost you some, I think she did garage sales. She did all kind of stuff in order to get to the workshop.
Right.
And all I'm saying is find a way to get there. We want to give you the best help that we can. Of course, we have to pay our coaches as a result of that, but we just want to help you. We want to help you in any way we can. I would also go online to our resources and take a look at limerence. And one of the characteristics of limerence is a vilification.
Right. And so the number to call our office for everybody, including Bridget, is 866-903-0990. That's 866-903-0990. And you can ask to speak to one of our client representatives. When you hear us say CR, that's what we're referring to.
Oh, that's what I said?
Yeah, well, I do it all the time, too.
I get excited.
So but you can call and ask, hey, may I speak to a CR? That's fine. We understand that, or a client representative, and they will do the best they can to work with you. We do our best not to turn anybody away because of money. Now, like Jim said, we have some costs we have to cover because people want to pay their mortgages here, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best to help you in any way we can.
Yeah, so don't be afraid of the questions. You say, I got no money, and they say, okay, cool, let's talk about your cable bill and how much you smoke and how many times you go out a week. No, I'm just playing with you, but not really. In any case, thanks for your call. Appreciate it.